Hi guys, today's video is going to be much shorter than all the other videos I've made so far, and we're going to turn a decimal into a fraction. I'm going to give you quite a few examples, but before I begin, I want to let you know that this video is going to be super easy to do and super easy to comprehend as long as you know your place value. If you have trouble with your place value, I suggest that you study the place value chart, know the place value chart, and then come back and watch this video. But for those of you that are strong with your place value chart, just continue on and watch this video so I can give you examples. But let's just go ahead and look at the place value chart. As you can see here, in red, we have our place value with our whole numbers. On the right side in blue, we have our place value with our decimals. And of course, between our whole numbers and our decimals is our decimal point. All right, so I'm not going to take long. I'm just going to quickly review over this. We have our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and millions. In our decimals, we don't begin with the ones as we do here. We begin with the tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. The rest is pretty similar to our whole numbers, but we have the THS at the end. Okay, so we don't say tens, we say tenths, and so forth. But anyways, guys, you need to know the place value chart in order to convert the decimal into a fraction. So let's begin. In this example, I have 0.325. The correct way to read it is 0 and, okay, when we have our decimal point, we say and. So I'm going to read it one more time. 0 and 325 thousandths. We got to name the place value. So I'm going to write it 325 thousandths. The last digit, whatever the place value is, here it goes. Whatever the place value is, that's what our fraction is going to be. So here we have the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I'm going to write it like so. 325 thousandths is the same as 325 over 1,000. Let's go over another example. All right, here I have 0.42. The correct way to read it is 0 and 42 hundredths. So if you can read it, you can write it. That is why I was saying earlier, guys, that you have to know your place value. You need to know that this is the tenths and hundredths. So to write it as a fraction, you write 42. Sorry, let me rewrite the 2. Okay, you write 42 over, we said this is the tenths, hundredths. 42 over 100. Let's try another one. Let's do 0.4753. All right, I'm going to convert this decimal into a fraction. Well, I need to read it, and I'm going to read it correctly. Okay, so you read it 0 and 4,753. Okay, so 4,753. Let's look at our place value. Tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000ths. The last digit is always going to tell you what the fraction is going to be. So it's going to be over 10,000. Let's look at our top example here. Okay. The last digit is in what place value? It's in the hundredths place. So we have tenths, hundredths. So that's going to be your denominator. In the second example, we said we have tenths, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. That's going to be our denominator. Let's try 2 more just to make sure you understand it. All right, let's try 0.9, and then we can do 0.06. All right, let's start on the first one. Let's read it correctly. 0 and 9/10. Okay, so 9/10. This is the last number, and the place value, what place value is it in? It's in the tenths place, so that's going to be my denominator. All right, let's go to the second example. This one is 0 and 6. What's the place value of the last digit? Tenths, hundredths. So it is 6/100 because you read it 0 and 6/100ths. The last digit will tell you what the denominator is. Super duper easy. Now let's add a little bit more of something I have not mentioned yet. And that thing is to simplify. We're always going to simplify our fractions whenever possible. Let's look at what we already have. 9/10. Can 9 and 10 be simplified? Can they be divided? Are they divisible by the same number? No. So it's going to remain the same. All right, let's look at the second example. Can 6 and 10 be divisible by the same number? Well, yes, they're both divisible by 2. So then 6 divided by 2 is 3. 100 divided by 2 is 50. Can I simplify this number even further? Nope. 3 and 50 cannot be divisible by the same number. Therefore, my final fraction is 3/50. Let's do a few more where we simplify. All right, let's do the first example. The correct way to read this decimal and turn it into a fraction is 0 and 25. What's the place value? Hundredths. Okay, there's tenths, hundredths. So I'm going to write 25/100ths. Can I simplify this? Is 25 and 100 divisible by the same number? Yes, they're divisible by 5. All right, 25 divided by 5 is 5. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Can I simplify further? Yes, I can. They're both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And there's my final answer. Let's try the next one. Here I have 0 and 15. What's the place value? Let's check. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So I have 15 thousandths. 15/1,000. Now, can I simplify them? Sure. Both of these numbers are divisible by 5. So, what's 15 divided by 5? 3. What's 1,000 divided by 5? 200. Can I simplify these two numbers? No, that's as low as I can go. So there's my answer. Super easy, guys. If you can read it, you can write it. Now, to close this video down, all I need to do is add or implement whole numbers. It's just as easy. Watch. All right, let's read it. The first number is 4 and 35. Let's look at the place value. Tenths, hundredths. So I'm going to write it just the way I read it. 4 and 35/100ths. Super easy. Same thing. Let's go to the next one. This one you read 23 and 4. What's the place value? 4/10. So I'm going to write it. If you can read it, you can write it. 23 and 4/10. Now don't forget, guys, we're always going to simplify whenever we can. All right? Can 35 and 100 be divisible by the same number? Yes. All right, so 35 divided by 5 is 7. And 100 divided by 5 is 20. So my final answer is 4 and 7/20. All right, let's look at my second number. Can 4 and 10 be divisible by the same number? Yes, they're both divisible by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. My final answer is 23 and 2/5. And there you have it. Super easy. If you can read it, you can write it. Now, a little trick I'm going to show you. Let me go ahead and erase all these numbers here. Okay, a little trick I can show you. You may want to use it, but I prefer that you know your place value. But this is what I do. Where there's a decimal, I'm going to start my fraction. Okay, remember this is a whole number. And under the decimal, you're going to put a 1. Under every number behind the decimal, you're going to put a 0. So that's going to become 4 35 hundredths. Let me give you another example. I'm sorry, I made it too big. Let's do 7.2. All right, the correct way to read it is 7 2/10. But if you don't know the place value, remember, make the 7, which is a whole number, make it large. Where the decimal is where you start the fraction. Make sure you put a 1 under the decimal and a 0 at the end of every number. So here we have 7 2/10. All right, one more example. Again, guys, I prefer that you understand and know your place value. But again, this is something, a helpful tip, a helpful way to remember this as well. Let's do 5 353 thousandths. For those of you that don't know your place value as well, remember where the decimal is where you start your fraction. Under the decimal, you put a 1. Under every number, you're going to put a 0. So this number, 5 353 thousandths, as a fraction becomes 5 353 thousandths. And that's it. Super duper easy, guys. Remember, always simplify. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, but make sure that you simplify at the end. I hope this has helped you. Please review it throughout the year. Thank you.